This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Hello and welcome back to the Research Talks podcast here on Stock Box with Alan Green during Storm Ciarán. Alan, which did delay my travels on the Eurostar. Yesterday a tree fell on the line, but I did get back luckily despite being very late, and I came back to a very wet and windy Netherlands, whereas the UK, from what I saw, was fine. I don't know what it was at your end.
It's been a very strange few days, really, Mark. As we speak, it's sunshine outside. It's been fairly sunny and blustery most of the morning with the odd shower, but it was lashing rain yesterday. During the day and on and off. But I think overall, although it's been bad and there have been a few trees down here and there, it hasn't yet been the biblical event here that it seems to be elsewhere along the south coast. So I'm just hoping that the forecast storms that are coming in this weekend won't be that biblical event that we would rather prefer didn't happen. But there we go.
Indeed. Okay. Well, anyway, enough about the weather. We could talk all day about the weather being British, but of course we do have things to cover. We're going to cover today Cadence Minerals, who I know we've talked about before on the podcast, but they had significant news earlier in the week with the joint venture partner there securing or going to secure the financing to actually build the mine and indeed complete the DFS. A very significant bit of news there. The share price reacting very nicely to that. And a new company, Cykel AI, they're an AI company. It's probably all about I know about them, Alan, but maybe you can enlighten us.
Well, AI, of course, is in the news at the moment. We have, of course, the conference up at Bletchley Park involving the Prime Minister and Elon Musk discussing the whys and the wherefores of AI, whether it's a good thing, whether it's a bad thing, and opinions, as ever, as they should be, are divided. But the one thing that's for sure is AI is here to stay. And I think Jonathan Bixby, who's the chief executive and the co-founder of Cykel AI, has got a really good take on this. And I was really interested to watch the interview that he did with you and just understand his take and his perspective on the business. So Cykel AI, Epic goes CYK, came to market literally, it seems like a few days ago. I think it's a week now, isn't it? But on the 24th of August, 24th of October, in fact, it came to market. And the shares, of course, rocketed from that 3p IPO all the way up to 10.5p, where they sit now, giving the company a market cap of 21.5 million. And I think with good reason too, because whilst this market is the understanding is burgeoning all the time, and of course the potential size of the market is burgeoning all the time. Companies are taking very different approaches, and Jonathan's really looked at the market very carefully before taking a step forward. But I was interested to note that he was on with ChatGPT about a year ago, and saw AI then very much as a smarter version of Wikipedia and Grammarly, and something that really pulled together everything that you want to do with the internet. But his analogy, I think, really is very good, and it also helps people understand the practical application of artificial intelligence. It's like a big brain, it's a big head, and what Cykel AI does, it actually gives it hands to, if you like, complete and fulfill those repetitive tasks that we all do every day on the internet. I think the comparisons were made very much with sales. Jonathan himself is very much an entrepreneur in the true sense of the word. Of course, he's based in Vanmo Banking, which is an online challenger bank. Paida Gaming, NFT investments. Of course, we've spoken about NFTs, Mark. Where you and I are well versed in the art or otherwise of NFTs, Stealth Carbon, and of course, most recently, Cykel AI. And he immediately saw an opportunity with AI, whereas some of the competitors out there, for example, there's a company called Adept in Silicon Valley that is a huge competitor. But what it's done, it's gone out and raised somewhere in the region of $500,000 or $500 million, coming to market with a 1 billion valuation. And what it's doing is building an underlying language to if you like, power artificial intelligence. Whereas really, Jonathan sees it as very much a moving feast, because the language, the architecture of AI is going to adapt all the time. So what he has a tool that will basically go out and it will help you or help people complete those digital tasks. It'll utilize the latest language, the latest tools out there, and will enable you to complete those tasks. So, for instance, if you're a salesperson, and Jonathan, from a sales background, I think really identifies with this. If you're a salesperson today, you'll be out there prospecting for your clients, and then once you've done that, you will then need to complete the data or enter the data into your CRM, so the company and your immediate boss can see what you're doing. And of course, that in itself is a labor-intensive task. But what Cykel AI will do with its Task AO and its other engines, it will enable that salesperson to simply talk to the AI bot, and it'll go in there. It'll basically complete it'll complete the information for the salesperson, and that will of course lead to increased productivity, because rather than having to fill in and enter that data, the person can simply talk to them, and the work will be completed that way. So that's hugely exciting, and of course it's going to revolutionize the way we undertake so many tasks. So shopping digitally, you can, if you need to order the weekly shop, you can just walk around the kitchen and talk to the bots through a speaker, and of course it'll go in, place the order for you. The order's done. So there's the applications literally for this are nebulous, absolutely huge. So there's a very good opportunity, I think, for Cykel, and I think with Jonathan's clear vision as to how this will work, I think they've got a great opportunity to take this forward. And what is really exciting is that the company has the technology 90% developed. It's ready to go. They're already testing it now with various customers. Jonathan believes that they will nail down at least 5 key customers during Q1 2024. So basically, we're about 6 to 8 weeks away from getting this launched and out there. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of progress from the company during that quarter, with contract wins with clients. And of course, the market size is potentially limitless for this. It's going to solve so many business problems going forward. But in terms of packaging it, of course, how does the company monetize this? Well, it's sold as software as a service. So this will be this will work very well as a reseller model. It'll work very well on a pyramid selling basis. But also Ford will be able to sort of ramp up that sales process very rapidly indeed. And as we often find with the market, you can get entrenched in the market, build and develop your products, and then perhaps one of the companies that has gone out this language that needs to diversify, it could make Cykel a very attractive acquisition target. And I know that's certainly part of the plan going forward. So ultimately, Cykel is going to build a system that will can perform and complete all computer-based work, and that's through any user interface or API. And with the company, so it's the after the flotation, it's a very sort of tightly held float. 28% of the securities out there are in public hands. Jonathan Bixby, through his company Toro Consulting, owns 24% of the company at the moment. And those funds they raised at the IPO are going to they have a tech team already in place that have built and developed the platform and the but the funds will be used to employ salespeople and basically used for go-to-market resources to get sales in and obviously ramp up the sales going forward. But certainly a very exciting investment. And I think even though the shares basically tripled since coming to market, it's still just got a market capitalization of 21 million. And I think if you put this company onto the NASDAQ, you'd probably be looking at a valuation at least 10 times that.
Well, thank you, Alan, for talking to us there about Cykel AI. Of course, I did speak to Jonathan, the CEO, not so long ago. And yes, I mean, the share price has done very well since IPO there. But, it's he said about standing on the shoulders of giants, so not trying to reinvent anything. We've already got established platforms there, like ChatGPT's got a very established following there, does a very good job at what it does. But the hands, as he says, that the ChatGPT is the brain, and he wanted to develop the hands. And that really makes sense to me. I use ChatGPT quite a lot, and it can do certain tasks very well. But if they can be implemented, actually do, real sort of actual tasks, the work, if you like, the hard work, and to automate some of the day-to-day things that could just really do with being automated, then that's really quite exciting. And of course, everyone knows how NVIDIA shares did recently with, of course, the whole AI boom. So I think it's a great space to be active in at the moment. And he certainly seems to have ambitious plans looking at their expected timeline. As you mentioned, they're closing at least 5 customers in Q1. Well, that's not long away. Get everything sorted, finalised before the end of the year, and then hit the ground hitting the sales on the SaaS product in the new year. So thank you for introducing it to us. It's definitely one to watch, I think. And how often do we see IPOs happen and the share price immediately drops? It's very rare these days that an IPO happens and the share price goes up twice or 3 times even. So and it's holding it, I think, as of today. So it's maybe setting a decent baseline there. So it's definitely one to research, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it quite a lot more in the future. But we do have to move on. We have to talk about Cadence Minerals as well.
Indeed, Cadence Minerals. It's been a pretty momentous week for Cadence Minerals, but I think that the underlying factor with Cadence Minerals is that we've talked about stocks and resource stocks and how the markets simply aren't valuing them in the right way at the moment. But a lot of stocks out there in the sector have projects that are being developed that are maybe speculative at this point. Cadence really is invested into pretty solid projects that are on route to market. They're very much in the late phases of their development to bring to market and to produce. And certainly in the case of Amapa is formerly a producing mine. Of course, Amapa is the Amapa iron ore project. So I'm going to talk about that first of all before I go on to the other investments the company has. But Amapa itself was formerly owned by Anglo American and Cloughs. It was valued by Anglo American in 2012 at $600 million on their books. And then, of course, the iron ore price collapsed. There was also a collapse at the port in Santana. And so the local company, Dev, that bought it out, went into administration until Cadence put together a plan to buy it out of administration in 2019, 2020. It's taken a while to come back, but we're really starting to gather pace now. And we heard at the start of the week, of course, Cadence now owns 32.6% of Amapa. I'm going to look at the valuations around that shortly. But what was announced on Monday is that the company has signed a memorandum of understanding with Sonoma, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Sonoma Engineering International. And this company will work with Dev, the local company, to really complete the process of recommissioning Amapa and bring it back to market. And this is hugely exciting because what it currently requires, Amapa requires, is a DFS, a definitive feasibility study that will tick all the boxes. So the investors will know exactly how much it will cost to recommission the mapper, bring it back to market, and also complete the works at the port and complete the rerouting of the railway at the port that's now been agreed to, which has also saved money on the original estimate. TID or TCIDR, which is the name of the shortened name for Sonoma, will complete the DFS. They'll obviously fund that too. They'll submit a fixed price engineering, procurement, and construction contract for the company, and of course provide the funding all the way through to the point where a mapper is earning money, and obviously the mine is back open. It's also important to understand that since Cadence bought the mine, it undertook during the PFS, the preliminary feasibility study process, it undertook and upgraded the mineral resource estimate for the iron ore that's in the ground there. But whilst doing that, the iron ore stockpiles at the ports were actually shipped out to market. So the market has already used and approved of the product that's being produced by a mapper. So this is very much very close to the finished article, and that's what really does make a mapper so exciting, because it's not building something from scratch. It's simply bringing something back to life that was producing successfully previously, but also producing quality product that was in demand by companies consuming the iron ore around the world. So once that's back online, then literally the iron ore will be processed at the Amapa mine. It'll be taken to the Santana port along the railway that's also owned by the group. It'll get to Santana port that's also owned by the group, and it'll be shipped out to market. So it's a very much a one-stop solution in that regard. So Cadence, as I said, owns 32.6%. It's spent the last few years bringing the mine and the port back to life. So you'd think with something of that size, that would be reflected in the valuation of the company. Well, as we speak, Mark, as we're recording this morning, Edison Research put together another research note based on the valuation of a mapper. And what they've said is that they've applied an 84% discount to the net present valuation of a mapper to reflect its PFS stage of development. So it reduces the valuation at project level from just under 1 billion NPV to $154 million PFS adjusted NPV. So if you take 32.6% of 154 million, you can do the math on that. That's pretty straightforward. So if the project gains its full DFS, which of course it will do now with Sonoma, then they'd apply a 55% reduction to the full NPV valuation, and the project value would rise to $440 million. So that would make Cadence's share of the project worth 44 pence per share. I'll just let that sink in for a second. 44 pence per share. So that's a mapper. We then come to the other projects that are owned by the group. The company has a stake in the Sinovac lithium project through European Metals Holdings, which is listed on AIM and also on the ASX. It owns 6.8% in shares. It also owns 1.9% of Hastings Technology Metals, which is an ASX listed company. And Hastings Technology Metals is the owner and operator of the Yangibana Rare Earths project in Western Australia. And that company has received a $140 million grant from the Australian government to fast track and develop the project. It also owns nearly 9% of Evergreen Lithium, which listed on the ASX a little earlier this year, and it's come to market. It owns the Bino and Kenny lithium projects in Central Australia, and the Bino project is contiguous with Core Lithium's Finniss project, which is worth a considerable amount of money. It also has a stake in the Sonora lithium project, but Edison had discounted this because obviously it's well documented that the Mexican government are attempting to renationalize the lithium projects that are running in the country. So the company has applied a very discount and reduction to that. So based on the valuations currently, it applies just under £6 million in valuation to the value of the value of the listed projects that Cadence holds, and of course those are directly reflected in the valuation of the shares listed on the respective markets, i.e., the AIM market of European metals and the ASX markets for the ASX market for the remainder. So if we then come back to Amapa again, currently Cadence is the Cadence share price is trading just under 6.9p, which gives the company a valuation of 12.6 million. So that gives an implied value to Amapa of about £6 million. And go back to what I said again. That's basically about 3 pence. So if we go back to the PFS valuation, we've probably got a value there of about 17 to 18 pence. So that would give it a valuation of about 20p, 21 pence. So if it gets the full DFS, as we've just discussed with TCIDR completing the DFS and supplying the finance to complete the process, then that valuation rises to 55% or a 55% discount to NPV, and Cadence's share of Amapa at 32.6% is worth 44p per share. So by any measure, Cadence is quite astonishingly undervalued. And I think if you looked at any mining company with a spread of projects, the risk on these projects has been reduced to the level where we know they're going to happen. It's going to come to market. It's going to start producing again. I think that we're looking at the end of next year that Amapa will be back up and running, provided the DFS goes to plan. So I think Cadence is an incredibly exciting investment. And even though after the announcement from Sonoma this week, the joint venture announcement on Monday, we've seen the blip in the share price. The share price, I think, briefly touched 8p, but we're still nowhere near where the valuation for this company should be. So I think at these sort of levels, it's an absolute slam dunk buy. And the chief exec, Kieran Mazzari, certainly thinks so, because he went and bought shares the day after the announcement in the open market.
Yes, indeed, he did, didn't he? He bought shares just the other day, and I mean, I still can't get over that 44 pence, and that's just for Amapa, was it?
That's well at present. The discount to NPV valuation based on the PFS stage of development brings it down to about 17 pence per share.
Okay.
So that's the matter of present. But once they complete the DFS,
right,
which will be taking place as we speak, once that's completed, it'll be worth 44 pence a share. But that's just Amapa. That's just Amapa.
Yeah,
that's nothing else.
Yeah.
That doesn't include the other investments that I've just been through. So
indeed.
So yeah, it's absolutely it's so undervalued, this company, and I think the markets are starting to wake up to this. But we're just in strange markets at the moment where nothing is valued the way it should be. So I do expect this to change, and I do expect quite a dramatic snapback at some point.
Well, that is, of course, the focus of the company now, isn't it? Is to actually start getting that DFS procedure underway. And Kieran did allude to the fact that there would be news to come on that in the near term. So they're hopefully looking to get that started not so long into next year. But I mean, I get the feeling, I think, from legacy, I don't know, maybe existing shareholders, that there seems to be some frustration, but maybe that just comes down to generally just, expectations were perhaps not exactly met and things were delayed, and given the market conditions, maybe that's where it comes from. I'm not sure. But I do get the feeling there's some, almost with Premier African Minerals, there's still doubt out there that it's going to happen until it's out in black and white that it's done. But of course, then we all know it's too late, isn't it? You've missed the majority of that upside. So you've got to take, the information you can get to hand today and make a decision. But I mean, given the news that came out this week on for the Amapa there and getting that funding sorted so they can, it will be sorted so they can get it constructed. then really they've just got to get the DFS funded, and then it's off, isn't it, really?
That's it. Yeah, well, it is. I mean, everything's in place now to do that. And as I say, those valuations, that's obviously Edison Research, that well-respected research house, but other research has been undertaken and has come to they come to very similar conclusions. So I think also, if you're a mining investment company, which Cadence are, often we've spoken before about companies like Power Metals, which have a range of projects, but the true value of each project doesn't really reflect in the valuation of the company overall. It's just the way the markets are treating resource stocks and mining and investment companies at the moment.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Alan, for giving us the investment case there for both Cykel AI and Cadence Minerals. Wish you a pleasant weekend, and let's speak again next week.
Thank you, Mark. You too.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.